Okay, we're gonna make a tier list, and I realize I haven't shown my face in this channel. Whatever. Anyway, point is, right, okay, we're gonna rank all the Ben 10 aliens from what I think is best, which is basically 10 out of 10. Worst is like 1 and 2 out of fucking 10. It's like terrible, awful. And then we got all these in between. I might not actually use some of these categories. Like, some might not be fucking, like, kind of bad. They might just have average and bad, you know? I don't know. But basically, just here we go. Also, I haven't uploaded much, but it's okay, because I'm doing a playthrough of Final Fantasy. I'm just recording it all, and I'm very slow at it. And I'm also going to record Mass Effect Legendary Edition when that comes out. So, hopefully that works out. Anyway. Right, okay, so, we're going to go... Should we go alphabetical, or their order in the series? We'll go... I don't know everyone's order in the series, but we'll just kind of go off. Heat Blast. Okay, right, so, first alien, but being the first one doesn't make you automatically good. But within the first series, he had really good animation things. His transformation was good. Great voice acting. Maybe the best voice acted classic alien. I gotta think of that as I go through this list. Visually, he was really good. But storyline wise, his species and Heat Blast never really went through anything. So I can't really put him in best. And in terms of great, he really tinkered off towards the end of the series. He kind of just became more of a rare appearance. But characters like Alan had his DNA. So Pyronites were still showing up a lot. Not a lot, but sometimes. I'm going to give him a great, because also I think he was very versatile and great in that original series, and when Alan showed up in Alien Force, that was really a big deal. So we're going to go with another original series one. We're going to go with Accelerate. Right, Accelerate in the original series is kind of maybe... I was going to say the best, but maybe not. But he was still very good. His animation was always good. He was clearly used for a lot more of the fun things that Ben would do, like the baseball game and stuff like that. So it really seems like, you know, he would be a really strong contender for great and best. And the character Helen, like, you know, using the logic that I did with Heat Blast, you know, has his DNA, well, not his DNA, but the species' DNA, and we see the species pop up here and there. I'm just going to put it along Heat Blast. Accelerate's great. Okay, next original series. Forearms. There we go. Right, so yeah, I think Forearms might be the first best one we have here. Honestly, I think his design is very simple but very good. And unlike Heat Blast and Accelerate, we learn a lot about his species and the culture behind that and stuff. And I really liked in Omniverse when stuff like with Luma would happen. So I really did like when he would become Forearms. So I also think Forearms maybe had a few like more moments, I guess. Like Heat Blast has moments like, you know, he's got a cold, or when he's got water on him. But with Forearms, I don't know. I always link him back. This could be no, I can't. Can I not? I can't make him the best. But I did love when he reappeared. He was one of the first like major original series ones to reappear along with Diamond Head. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave him up at best, but that could change. Okay, that could clearly change. Right, speaking of Diamond Head, we're gonna bring him up. And honestly, I think it's actually no doubt he is in the best. His species has lore. He has some of the best moments. I love the way his powers are shown in the original series. I love the way he's revealed again in Alien Force, defeating Vilgax. Insane moment, really good. In Omniverse, he's still really good. He appears in Ben 10,000 episodes. He's constantly appearing throughout the series. He doesn't tinker off like Heat Blast and Accelerate. Accelerate especially. Really make less appearances throughout the series. Diamond Head is just consistent and always there. And I guess we're kind of counting in the reboot, are we? Yeah, I have reboot aliens here, yeah. And so all 4 of these are in the reboot. So, you know, they're all consistent. But overall, I guess Forearms and Diamond Head have been more consistent. So I guess they go with the best. Plus, I think Diamond Head visually has better design than all of these 4. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, we're gonna go to... We'll mix it up. We'll go to Shock Squatch. Right, so Shock Squatch has a weird debut. He technically debuted in the Generator Rex crossover. He was the new alien in that one. And then he fully became a thing within, you know, Omniverse. And he was one of the main aliens there. I love his voice acting, how he has that Canadian accent. I really like his design. It's really, just really good. So I would put him in, like, good, just not great, because the thing is about Omniverse is, not even the thing with Omniverse, it's just the thing with Shock Squatch, is that he appears a good bit, and there's an episode all about electricity ones, but that kind of just does show that he can't really reach great or best, at least within the show he was in, because there was already a lot of electricity people there, and while he had a better personality than those other electricity people, ultimately he just gets good. He's probably going to get better than the other electricity guys, but that's where I see him, because also he doesn't appear that much. Like, he appears a lot towards the early stages of Omniverse, but of course, you know, Omniverse eventually embraced a lot of the aliens, aside from Jet Ray, Chameleon, Spitter, and Fast Track. But not the point though, we'll get to them. Fuck, we'll get to them. Yeah, where's Jet Ray? Where's Jet Ray? There he is. This tier list has the Omniverse redesigns for some of these characters, aside from Fast Track, because his Omniverse design only came out recently. But yeah, Jet Ray was the alien in terms of like marketing, aside from maybe like Swampfire and Humongousaur. For Alien Force, he was so good, and he was always used, and it's very clear that there was just a personal bias with Omniverse, and that's the only reason why he didn't consistently be really used. Like, you look at Asterodactyl, no offense to him because he's really cool, but it's just the whole thing of he's basically a replacement Jet Ray, and that's how he feels, aside from the deviation in powers towards some aspects. So overall, you look at it and you can't help but just wonder, what if it was Jet Ray? And that's the thing, that's how it feels. So I'm gonna put him in, will I put him in great? No, I'm gonna put him in good, because I'm taking in the factors here, and I like the voice acting for, you know, Shock Squatch, but I think Jet Ray sounds grating, honestly. I'm not a fan of him, the way he sounds, but his powers and the moments where he goes like faster than light and stuff like that, really good, really cool. And he could have been in great and best, but, you know, he just wasn't. He was only in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, and that sounds like a really big drawback, but really he was so good within like those, because he was just constantly used, and his power levels were really good, and, you know, he visually was really cool because his wings were always drawn really well. Okay, so we're gonna we'll go for one of the 5 introduced in Ultimate Alien. Yeah, sure. Let's go for Water Hazard. Water Hazard, I thought his design in Ultimate Alien was okay, but his redesign in Omniverse legitimately is very, very good. I think he has one of the best designs in all of Omniverse, and I think his powers are good. He has some vapor control, he has, you know, water pressure stuff. I really liked the story at the first season of Ultimate Alien. I thought it was really good. And of course, a lot of the five prisoner aliens, they're based off of, you know, 5 prisoners there, you know, so I can't really take my opinions of those characters and put it into these, but what I will do is, Water Hazard appeared a bit like on Omniverse. I'm gonna put him into good. He was one of my favorites out of the Ultimate Alien introduced ones. We'll keep it rolling with Wildmutt. Right, Wildmutt. Wildmutt is one of the original series ones. I'll be honest, I never liked Wildmutt too much growing up. I was born in 2002. So Ben 10 was in full swing by the time I was able to, like, you know, remember stuff and watch stuff. And I remember when I became like a proper fan, it was just before Alien Force came out, and I remember I would always just go, but Wildmutt's kind of just okay, I guess. Like, I get he could track stuff, and I get he, you know, was alright, and he was the one from the classic series to get an ultimate form aside from Cannonbolt, but Ultimate Cannonbolt is kind of bad, like, design-wise, but Ultimate Wildmutt's great in terms of design. But Wildmutt, I think, is okay. I just never understood a lot of the love behind him. But I think it's kind of average, honestly. Some people might not like that, but I just think it's true. Big Chill. Big Chill, honestly, for me, goes into the best. I think the episode where Ben thinks he's going to end up being another ghost freak is really good. I think visually, Big Chill, people give a lot of shit to his Omniverse big design. I don't mind it. And I think that his Alien Force Ultimate Alien design is still really good, and he looks really creepy. He appeared in Alien Swarm, and stuff like that, and just, yeah, I really love Big Chill, and I think out of any, no matter what comes next with Ben 10, I really wouldn't mind Big Chill making an appearance above a lot of the original series aliens, honestly. Big Chill ahead of Forearms. Also, I love the voice acting behind Big Chill. Overall. Oh yeah, another thing about Wildmutt, I actually didn't really address it. I think he's kind of one note. It was ultimately just, he was a dog, and they would make kind of like dog jokes, you know. I wasn't a fan of too much about it. I liked the whole thing of he can see and kind of like thermal vision. That was kind of cool, and like with his senses. But anyway, let's go to, you know what? Let's go to tragically an alien that I will have to talk about. Let's talk about Spitter. Let's talk about this tragic son of a bitch. Let's talk about the fact that he was in the Ben 10,000 episode, but everyone liked Artaguana better, so like no one talked about Spitter. and then he made like a hologram appearance in the Ben 10K episode, like the Ultimate Ben episode, and then he didn't appear in Omniverse, so he just has a tragic thing. So like of just not being really in anything. I have 2 averages here. I just realized. I'll erase that row. Hang on, give me a minute. It's been deleted. But basically, just Spitter never really had a chance. So I feel really bad putting him in kind of bad or terrible or worse. But I have to put him in bad because he's not terrible. Because I have no real negative feelings towards him. It's just to put him in kind of bad. It means to put him alongside maybe like a few others that had like some screen time. I don't know, but to put him in bad, like, do you look at Spitter and say he's actively bad? Like, I could put him in average, but I don't feel like putting him up there with, like, Walden. So, I'm going to put him in kind of bad, because you look at him and you go, you know what, kind of bad, wasn't really in the series. And you look at this Omniverse design, and it's actually really good, and I wish he was in it, but, anyway. Let's look at Blocks. Blocks is okay. He gets a lot of shit for basically being a Lego alien, that's gimmicky, but I do like the fact that he's like a gorilla who can like assemble himself. I just feel like if he was made out of a different coloured material, people would look at him really cool, like, but, you know, I just think he's average. He's okay. He's not great. He's just kind of alright. I do like a lot of the creative things Ben becomes, like the catapult and stuff. So now let's look at a great Omniverse one. Let's look at fucking Gravitac. Gravitac is great. Gravitac is really, really good. His power set is amazing. The fact that he's basically a planet. We see a version of Ultimate Gravitac in Omniverse, and it's really cool, where he's basically just a big planet thing. And it's just, there's a lot of episodes focusing around Gravitac, like there's one where he's introduced, and that's a good episode with the Buzz Shocks, Megawatts being kidnapped by Fistrick, and there's the episode where the little mini species is drilling into Gravitac, and their species are known as peacekeepers, and it's just with the amount of episodes he was in, like he was only introduced in like Omniverse. It's like they did a really good job of establishing Gravitac and his power levels and his species as a whole, and overall I love his design, and his voice acting's alright, nothing special. But yeah, he was really great. But he's probably gonna be like the bottom of great. So whenever I add someone to great, they'll probably be left of Gravitac. Now let's talk about Blitzwolfer or Ben Wolf. Honestly, I really like him. I really like how his mouth separates. I love his powers. I love his look. You know, I like how in the Ben 10 universe a lot of aliens, a lot of supernatural things or just alien species that have been misinterpreted throughout history into stories. But I don't like how a lot of the stories are affiliated with Kai and their really bad romance story. So I gotta put him into like, he would be in great, but if it weren't for the fact that most of the time when he's on screen, like in Omniverse, it's only in the Kai stuff. And then, like, yeah, there's a few things like the horrific Galaxy arc and stuff like that where he appears. But overall, you know, he had that really cool moment where there was an Echo speaker and he blew apart like an entire forest and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna put him in a good, but maybe average. Average, because also I think of the series he was introduced in the original, and he just was completely sidelined after his first episode. So he's gonna go in average. But he's gonna go into the top of average. Brainstorm. Brainstorm was just full on good. Like, he's on the borderline of being great. I love the moments with him where he's calculating stuff and his electricity stuff, and his species being established as the second most smartest, and characters like Dr. Psychobos being mad about that. Like, I just really like Brainstorm. I think it's cool, but I don't think he's great. But I think he's really good. Let's go to Frankenstrike. Frankenstrike I think is kind of bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go with kind of bad. Bad? No, let's just go with bad. I say that because ultimately, in the original series, like, he was probably the least hyped up to member of like the three Ben aliens, like Ben Wolf, Ben Mummy, Ben Victor. Like, there was an episode focused on each one. With Ben Victor, it was kind of just Ben has him, and then it's like literally like a very short scene. It's like Ben's in outer space, goes in, switches back, and it's kind of like, oh, I tricked you. And then within Omniverse, he doesn't really become Frankenstrike too often. You feel like he wouldn't really become Frankenstrike if it weren't for the marketing of it being the arc where they have to do all the horror stuff. So I'm never really a fan, but I love his design. I like him more as a species than I do an alien, so I'd put him into bad. Not terrible though. Like, I have no real massive negative feelings, but you know, there's two different versions of energy here, but I'm just gonna go with this main one. So energy, I think, is good. Great. No, I like the guy that energy is based off of in Ultimate Alien a lot, but I don't want to make that affect the way I look at the alien. Energy is really clunky and big, and I really like that. I think he's fun. I think his voice acting, him being like a big Russian guy, is great. and the whole thing of whenever he tricks people to remove the suit is really fun. There's not really much to say about that. I would say, let me actually sort out this. I like Energy probably better than Shock Squatch, and I like... Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, that's about right so far. Let's look at Grey Matter. Grey Matter was basically the joke alien in the original series. Like, he'd be small, but he'd be smart. But also, he found really good, useful moments. I wish there was more moments of Grey Matter and Asme, kind of like working through problems and stuff. But there wasn't, and in doing so, I kind of got to put him in kind of bad, because eventually Brainstorm just took his slot. And eventually it just became that, oh, we're going to become Grey Matter for like one episode, and that's it. Like, and then see you in like 20 episodes when you become you again, and it's like, that's it. And I never really, was a fan of him. And I didn't really like his voice acting ever. I like that little few notes of music that would always accompany him in the original series, but they ditched that. And in the original series, I think his episode where he's trying to escape that guy's house is a bit alright. I usually skip that on a rewatch, so... Buzzshock, I honestly have to kind of put into terrible. I'm sorry, but it's like, it's another electric alien, and that's fine. It's just the whole thing of... Buzzshock's just not really in anything. It's the same thing as Spitter, but I put it in terrible because I think there could have been a really good moment of like Buzzshock versus a Megawatt or something like that. There might be that moment and I'm just kind of forgetting it, but I'll put him in terrible for the sake of wasted potential. Using that logic, I should actually probably put Frankenstrike in there, but Frankenstrike at least has kind of like a good voice actor, so I give the nudge. Meanwhile, Buzzshock, the most memorable thing I can think of is actually in the Ken 10 episode, so no. Goop, I would actually dare say, is great. Goop is maybe my favourite, aside from like Big Chill and one other, which I'm going to get to now, in the Alien Force lineup. Actually, three others. But the point is, Goop has a great voice actor, great powers. I love the UFO gimmick. I love a lot of it. It's just that, Goop's Alien, didn't get much story around him, or much focus, or there's not really characters that are based off of him. So I can't really give him that nudge, but I'm going to put him in great. Cannon Bolt, I like Cannon Bolt, not in the original series too much though. I thought his introduction episode was kind of bad. I'm not a fan of the Big Tick episode. And when he reappeared in Ultimate Alien and got an Ultimate form, I really wasn't a fan of it, because I wasn't a fan of the design of Ultimate Cannon Bolt at all. I don't think anyone was. It's just grey with some spikes, but therefore Cannon Bolt in Ultimate Alien kind of rarely appeared, because he only appeared to go Ultimate. So, but I really liked him in Omniverse, so I'm going to put him in good, because in Omniverse he was used a good bit, mostly for comedic relief, but I tell you he was alright. But I feel like putting him kind of an average. We'll put him in average. Yeah, let's put him in average. Because honestly, I'd rather watch maybe... There, bam. That makes more sense there. I'd rather watch Blitzwolfer, but, I think he's above Wild One blocks. Alright, let's go with Chameleon, another poor alien that had a really strong introduction with, a member of his species being scanned in a really tragic episode of Ultimate Alien. Ultimately was never used in Omniverse. Only this design came out recently, and basically just never really used which sucks, because also there was an evil member of his species who was a woman in Omniverse. There could have been some good moments with that. So I guess just based off the fact of wasted potential, we got to put him in terrible, even though I really like him. But I kind of want to put him in average, just based off the fact that he was never actually bad, and his powers were good, and his design was good, and his introduction, at least the guy that his DNA is based off, is good. So I feel like putting him into average, but I'm going to put him into the very top of kind of bad. To be better than Chameleon makes you an average alien, I guess. That seems like a good slot. And while we're at it, let's go into Fast Track. Fast Track gets a lot of shit for being a rip-off Accelerate, which does suck, because ultimately, there's so many electric aliens, but, there's only 2 speed ones, I guess, not counting Jetray. But the thing is, it's the fact that he's blue, and he's black, and so is Accelerate, and it's just, it feels very unoriginal, but it's not that unoriginal. I just feel like there should have been a bigger distinction between Accelerate. If Accelerate's thing was that he gets gradually faster over time and it becomes faster than light, that'd be cool. And then Fast Track is just a set speed, in bursts, and then distinguish them with that, and give Accelerate his claw things, and give Fast Track punching. But there wasn't enough difference, and it's shit. But I gotta give him kind of the terrible, he's not original, but I don't really look at him in a bad way. I thought his voice was okay. He appeared in the Galactic Racing game. Whatever. Bullfrog. I kind of love Bullfrog. I'm going to give him a good. Ahead of Energy, maybe, anyway. I love his accent. I love the story of him basically flirting with Ataya and getting back to Earth. That was just a really good story with Omniverse, at least in my opinion. So I'm a fan of Bullfrog. There's not really much to say there. and I love his appearances after and stuff like that. Ditto. Honestly, I hate Ditto. I think Ditto's terrible. He was my least favourite in the original series, and honestly, it's like they all feel each other's pain, and there's literally no reason for him to ever become Ditto ever. And I think, you know, there's no real memorable moment with Ditto aside from like his introduction episode, and even then I kind of blank on that a lot. It was basically just the Ben 10 Beach episode featuring Ditto, so whatever. Crash Hopper, I'm going to put into kind of bad. He was used a lot in Omniverse. He was kind of alright. I love the idea of his legs, like a character that just blasts things off their leg. Like if you watch TMNT 2012, Fish Face is a character that does that. It's really cool. But I just thought his voice was kind of grating and annoying and frustrating, and I didn't like how often he appeared. So I would put him alongside, yeah, basically the kind of bad sections, like your borderline average. Actually, should I put him in average? Nah, I'm going to put him, because I kind of like Chameleon more as a concept and stuff like that, so that's about right. Let's tackle Echo Echo. Echo Echo for me is legitimately great. Echo Echo is amazing. Echo Echo's powers is cool. I love the sense of power you get from Echo Echo. I love episodes that even remotely feature a big thing with Echo Echo. His design is really simple, but one of my favourites. I like the Omniverse design a lot as well. I love the episode where Ben is splitting the tree. It's just fun. And it just... Echo Echo is really good. There's not much to say. And you know what? We're going to rank our first Ultimate Alien, and that's Ultimate Echo Echo. And Ultimate Echo Echo goes right beside regular Echo, because that fight with Ultimate Kevin is amazing, and I love it, and Sonic Doom and all that stuff, and it's a great design, and it's the logical next step for a species. Instead of cloning yourself, you clone your ability and like the source of it, because you're living sound. It's really cool. So yeah, let's rank more Ultimate ones actually. Let's rank Ultimate Wildmo. Ultimate Wildmo is a gimmick. It's like he's Wildmo, but he can speak, and he has a tail, and he looks vaguely like more savage and stuff. So I would put him like beside the regular Wildmo. I'm not a fan. That's a bit harsh, but it's true. Eye Guy. He does puns, and he's covered in eyes, but I do like the visuals of whenever his eyes merge, and there's a big one up front. And I also appreciate puns. I'm going to put him in good, but it's at the bottom of good. To be worse than him is to be average. To be better than him is to be fairly good. That's the good way of looking at it, I think. Feedback is great. I think he was probably maybe the best introduction character in Omniverse for like the aliens. I loved the malware storyline. The implication that Ben felt his own skin basically get removed, like when Feedback was destroyed, is insane. I love the return moment with malware. Yeah, he's just overall great as a whole, and I love his design. I love that little electric sound that always comes up whenever he shows up. Ball Weevil, kind of bad. Like I put him alongside Crash Hopper. They're both insect, annoying voiced aliens with powers that I'm a fan of in general, but I just think they appear either too much or annoy me. Ghost Freak gets great, best, honestly. He's amazing. If we technically count him as like the beginning story with like the scare, it's like, you know, easily the best. But even without it, because we can't count the scare stuff as Ghost Freak, I love whenever Ben becomes Ghost Freak. I love the symbolic like imagery, like the Omnitrix responds to Ben's thoughts and wraps him in chains so that Ben feels safe while transforming into him. I love in the original series whenever Ghost Freak was on screen, it was amazing. Yeah, it was just, Ghost Freak was great. Wrath, I gonna do a hot take now. I'm sorry if you're a Ben 10 fan, you made your way through this. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Wrath. I don't like him. I think he's just kind of bad. I'm a big fan of wrestling, and people say, he's like a wrestling personality. Yeah, he is, but from like the 70s, man. It's a lot cartoony, and even as a kid I wasn't a fan too much of it, and even then I always would look at Rat as a kid and go, but you could probably just become forearms and beat people up more, like, you know. And I like how he's got like one claw there, but they never focus on it too much or anything like that. And we saw a version of Ultimate Rat, and it's basically just a Kraven the Hunter reference, so it's like whatever. Snarrow. Snarrow was my favourite, like growing up as from the tree Ben Aliens, he was Ben Mummy, but overall I would say he's average. I would put him beside Blocks, but maybe just ahead for the sake of there's some history behind how Ben got the alien. Gutrot. Gutrot was introduced way late in the game for him to be interesting, however then he ended up being interesting. He just had a really good power. It was chemical mixing and he had a fun voice, so I would put him into average, probably. actually around the same as Cannonballs, honestly. I love Gutrot. I think Gutrot's great, but I don't think he's good or great. I think he's average, but I think he's a great average. Chroma Stone, easily one of my favourites from the early stages of Alien Force. And then, though, in Omniverse, he only appeared like 3 times. He was barely in it. He could have been legitimately one of the greats. His origin story of how like he's a creation of the Omnitrix, and there's that whole thing where the planet blew up in the crystal, it's all really good, and that Tetrax episode from Alien Force, or was it Ultimate Alien? Either way, it was a good episode and I liked it. I'm putting him beside Brainstorm. I think Brainstorm's better, but I'm putting him up there. He's really good. He just wasn't in Omniverse like until towards the end, so that sucks for him. Humongosaur. Humongosaur is amazing. They eventually forgot the fact that he can make himself bigger via growing and stuff, but he can do that. I loved him in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. He was like Ben's go-to. I loved his ultimate form. We'll get to that next, actually. I'm going to put him in great. No, best. I'm going to put him in best. No, I'm going to put him in great. I'm going to put him in great, and I'm going to put him beside Gravitak, and I'm going to put Goop ahead of Humongosaur, because I have a real big soft spot for Goop. And then we're going to put... Yeah, we're going to do that. This looks better. Because Humongosaur's great. It's just, you know, I never was a fan of... Like, you know, you think of moments, and there's so many. But the thing is that, like, you know, you never really think of, like, little personality moments, you know? And I think that is what stops him from becoming either really good and great or best. Ultimate Humongosaur, I think, is the go-to Ultimate Alien you always think of. He's always just the next progressional step when you think of like Ultimate Alien. It's like, oh yeah, Ben becomes Ultimate Humongosaur, shoots stuff. I'm going to put him ahead of Gravitak just for the sake of the visuals and the power level and the idea. And I love Ultimate Humongosaur design inside of Omniverse, but I can't really have him go that far because there's not that much of a difference. Let's look at Jerry Rig. I love Jerry Rig's frantic personality and the way he does everything. I feel like Ben should have unlocked Jerry Rig first and then Upgrade, because he feels like a step down from Upgrade. But honestly, Jerry Rig is so I love his redesign, by the way. His original design where he's like a naked devil imp thing sucks. This is basically the same design but with clothes on and a nice hat, so it's way better. So we're going to put Jerry Rig into good. We're going to put him ahead of... We're going to put him beside Shock Squatch for people with funny voices and good personalities. This is like basically what this little group is becoming here. Edel. Edel, I think, is really cool. He's basically super strong, durable, and he basically has upchuck's power, but, you know, with a little bit of laser. I'm going to put him in average, but I think he's really good. And design-wise, I love his redesign. I think his Ultimate Alien design was really boring, and that would honestly make me put him in fucking terrible, because I hate that design so much. But the Omniverse design saves it so much. I've drawn this design, and it's so cool and good, and I love it. Molstache. Molstache is... Like, there was a plumber that was this alien, and then the joke was that Ben became him, and he could fly, and beat up Vilgax that one time. I'm going to put him kind of down terrible. I'm not a fan of him. And along those lines, let's just get to some of the joke ones. I love the fact that there's a this is Pesky Dust. I'm going to put Pesky Dust actually in kind of sort of average. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it in... Yeah, we're going to go... Yeah, average. I love that, you know, characters like... the hunter guy. I forget his name. No! Kyber. Haha. I love that Kyber is afraid of Pexy Dust, and I love little things like that. And out of all like the little like smaller joke aliens that were introduced in the Omniverse, I think Pexy Dust fits right in along all the other Ben 10 ones. Along with, honestly, bit of a hot take here, the Worst. I think the Worst is a great idea for a concept. Ben feels pain, but he's indestructible. It's great, and I love that episode. And I think people that put the Worst in the Worst legitimately don't really get the concept. He's called the Worst ironically, because legitimately he's really good. And I like him, and I'm going to put him at the back end of good. Way Big, for me, gets a great, but not a best. I love the moments where like he's doing things like holding up the hybrid tower, and you know his debut where he throws Vilgax into space and shooting out cosmic rays for the first time and stuff like that. But it's like, I feel like he's more of a Deus Ex Machina, so I can never put him in best, because personality-wise, ultimately he's just Ben but big. But I love moments like him fighting the Way Bad and stuff like that, and it's always great. You always know you're in for a good episode when Way Big shows up, you know? It's always fun. Nanomech. Nanomech kind of vanishes a little bit after being kind of like focused on a good bit within Alien, Ultimate Alien. He was the main, like, you know, saving alien within Alien Swarm, but Alien Swarm's kind of average, you know, it's just meh. it's not really, on a rewatch it's maybe even worse because it's just kind of boring because you know what happens. But yeah, Nanomech was pretty good, but then I really like his design in Omniverse as well, and I thought his voice acting was kind of average. It was just squeaky small voice, so I'm going to put him in average. Yeah, back end of average. Oh yeah, some of these aliens, if you can't recognise them, are basically official aliens that have been named in the series, that have been kind of given semi-canon looking versions, but I'm not going to rank them. Like people like like Snake Pit and Sandbox and stuff, I'm not going to do them. Let's do more Ultimate Aliens. Ultimate Way Big, honestly, the worst. I'll explain why. I'll explain this. It's because I think, honestly, the fact that it's just Way Big but bigger with some blue and horns is so lazy. And it's like, it comes in right at the end of Ultimate Alien, and it's like, out of everyone to give Ultimate Aliens, you just go for Way Big and make him bigger. I hate that. I just hate it a lot. It's so annoying. Oh, God. Right, Upgrade. Upgrade, I think, is great, but I'm not putting him in great, I'm putting him in good. I'm going to put him behind Water Hazard. That makes more sense to me. I think Upgrade is cool design wise. I love his design in the reboot, how he has like purple instead. That's really cool. But overall, I like the story with Malware and species and everything. But once again, that's just how I feel mostly about Malware. It's like Upgrade isn't really in that story at all, which is really shocking. That's like a big missed opportunity. But I do love him in the original series and all the transformations and the fluid animation and stuff like that you would get. He looks like a symbiote, but you know, with like Iron Man tech. He's like Venom mixed with Technovore from Marvel, if you ever know that character. So it's really cool to see. Clockwork gets a average. I would put him in there because I think his voice is okay, and I think though also he's mostly just, you know, a tool for time travel. The same way it's like, we need a big guy, Way Big, we need a time travel guy, Clockwork, you know. I never really looked at Clockwork and went, best alien, you know. I just think of him as middle of the road, we have a time travel storyline, let's do Clockwork, we'll have his powers do whatever we need the plot to demand, you know. So, not in like a malice way, but, you know, he's in average. Topic. I like the concept of a really gross alien. I just feel like they should have put it more further. Like, they should have had it be that he's puking up like guts, well, not the literal guts, but like an equivalent, and like he's disgusting and like he's horrific to look at. But instead it's just, he opens his mask, they get sick. It's a Ben 10K reference because Topic was mentioned, whatever. So I gotta kind of put him in kind of bad, but also I'm just gonna put him in bad. I'm gonna put him in bad because I can't really put him alongside Spitter and like Grey Matter and stuff, because it's like, I feel like, you know, he's on that level, and you know, it's like, I'm just not a fan. And I don't really like it too much. Astrodactyl. I really like his powers. I like his green stuff, even though he's basically rip-off Jet Ray. I like it a lot. I'm going to put him beside Jet Ray as well. That's going to make some people get annoyed, but I love the ring effects, and I love how he flies. So he's got like a backpack that's like hollowed out, and it looks like bone and stuff. I think it's just great, and I love the design of his wings, and it's like a jetpack, but it's not. It's like his body. I just really like it. Sue me. Ripjaws was my legitimate, aside from Diamond Head, but growing up he was 100% my favourite alien in the entire series. I just love how visceral and wild a lot of his attacks look in the original series. He bites stuff, he claws at it, he's ripping stuff apart, and like, I love the creative ways of like when he would get water, and I also loved when he was out of water, like things like when Vilgax is fighting Ben and like he's on top of Mount Rushmore and he's crawling for water. It's insane, it's awesome. And I also love the occasional water episode you get like once per series of like, hey, it's Ben and he's Ripjaws and he's accompanying a character somewhere. That's always fun to get. So I'm going to put him in great, honestly. He's kind of like falling into some categories like Way Big, where he's a gimmick alien. We need someone really big, get him. We need water, get Ripjaws. But Ripjaws just, it's like, I really love the horror aspect, especially from the original series, like that Zombozo introductory episode. The first few scenes is literally just like Ripjaws and like a fucking Jaws type thing. It's great. Okay, we're gonna rank Swampfire. Now this is pre-redesign, I guess, but we could rank them as both. We'll just put both designs beside each other, because unlike Energy, I feel like there's actually like a full-on definitive separation here. So I'm gonna put regular, you know, Swampfire. We'll rank all three Swampfires here, including Ultimate. I'm gonna put Swampfire after Ripjaws, because I think it's really good. You know, there's always those moments where we think Ben is dead, his head reassembles, very interesting, very cool. I think he's like Wildvine, but with heat blast, and he has noxious gas powers. He was very versatile. And I'm going to put the other version of Heat Blast right beside him, because honestly, they're the same character, and I actually like this design better, so I'm going to put it ahead. There we go. Some people might not like the fact that I put the redesign of Swampfire ahead. But that's how I feel. I really like the redesign of Swampfire. I think it's cool. Popped collar style, it's great. I think they should have been two separate aliens, is what it looks like, honestly. Make it like a subspecies like Upchuck, but whatever. And then Ultimate Swampfire is cool, but honestly I don't like him as much as regular Swampfire. I'm gonna put him in like average, and that sounds like a big separation, but it's like I can't. Like I get that it's like, oh, he's made out of plants. The upgraded version's made out of wood. He has like fire, glass things in him. We'll put him beside Ultimate. We'll put him between the two bottom ones. It's like, ooh, he has like contained stuff, and his face is all scrunched up, and he looks like this, and it's all weird. It's like, I'm not a fan. I just think Ultimate Swampfire is kind of visually, he looks almost like a step down. It's weird. But he was the first Ultimate alien that we got that for Ben to transform into, so that's fun. But yeah, I was never too much of a fan. Ultimate Spider Monkey. I think design-wise he's amazing. I think he's great. I love how strong he is. I love his design. I love how they basically made him more apish. However, regular Spider Monkey, I think, is annoying as shit. And I'm going to put him in kind of bad. I think he's really annoying. I think he's basically just, he's got webs. That's fine. I love Spider-Man. Who doesn't? But I think I was never a fan of whenever he would show up. He was probably my least favourite Alien Force one. Stingfly. Stingfly, I think, is average. He was the flying one in the original series. He would smell. That's the joke. And overall, he had like a strong tail as well. That could get his stuff. They should have focused on that a little bit. But overall, he didn't really make that many appearances after. Like, he was in Omniverse. He was in the intro of Ultimate Alien. He didn't do much. But I'm gonna put him in average though, because in the original series, he still had like good moments, and he had pretty good animation here and there. And yeah. He's just overall pretty good, but I'm gonna put him below Wildmo. I liked Blocks honestly more than Stingfly. I'm gonna put Blocks above Stingfly. That's right, I just did that. Ultimate Cannonbolt, I'm gonna put him in terrible, not worst. Not terrible. Yeah. It's the same thing as Ultimate Way Big, where it's like it's the same design, but you just upped one thing, and in this case it's just you changed the cannon bolts to be made of metal with spikes. You could have made him look so armoured and cool, like the Omni-Kick version of like the Reboot cannon bolt, but instead you just made it a very drab, dull version of what we already have, and if anything it's disappointing, and it made everyone just go, why do we have this instead of any other character with an ultimate form? And then we got Ultimate not Heat Blast, Big Chill. I'm going to put him in kind of bad, but for the sake of, there's at least a bigger visual change. And also, he would at least shoot fire. That apparently was so hot, it would be cold, kind of like, like a demon. Because, demons are actually cold, because, furthest away from God's light. Point is I do like Ultimate Big Chill, but as an ultimate form, and what you gotta, think of that as, I'm not a fan. I think it's just Big Chill but red with some, curves and, shapes coming off of him. Not a fan. Kick and Hawk. The idea of a hand-to-hand specialist with feet for Ben is fun. I'm going to put him in the bottom of good. No, I'm going to put him in average. I'm going to put him ahead of Gutrock. That feels about right. I think he's alright. I love when he got him, when he was fighting Liam, the chicken dude, and he just, because he's supposed to be a peak version of every species, so he's not a chicken, he's a hawk. So, that's fun. But overall, Kick and Hawk didn't really do much, but I'm putting him in average because I like his gimmick, I like his design, I think it's alright. Armadillo we are going to put into great. I love his design. It's I really wonder how his species works, anatomy wise. I'm going to put him at the bottom of great. I'm going to put him actually at the top of good. Actually, that's what I'll do. Top of good goes to Armadillo. I love the little moments with him, digging and shaking things only a small bit, and I love just the fact that sometimes he would launch stuff with his arm going with the piston. It's really cool. His voice acting was alright. That's pretty good. Let's see. Let's do a Reboot alien. Actually, we haven't done one. Let's do Shockrock. Shockrock, I think, is good. I think his powers are kind of silly, that he can kind of make whatever shape he wants. I'm not a fan of that too much, but I do like him as a concept where his race is invading and Ben gets the species and it's fun. So I wasn't that big on the story, like others were about when the reboot began like getting really good, but I do like Shockrock, so I'm putting him around Chrome Stone Bullfrog for entertainment value. Then let's do Overflow. People gave him a lot of shit, including me, because he was basically a rip-off water hazard, but instead of being able to shoot water, which he can still do, he controls it as well and he can slice stuff, so there's technically a difference, but I gotta put him in like beside Fast Track basically, because they're the same but they're not, you know. So, you know, it's like I acknowledge their differences, similar to like, but with Fast Track there's almost no differences. So I guess I'll put Overflow in bad for the sake of being uninspired, and then I'll put Fast Track in terrible for the sake of being uninspired and with no real distinction that we're able to clearly see aside from design. But I guess we'll. No, it's fine. Walk It True. His joke is that he's a species that like they can walk on water, and they can swim, and they're weak and small. I kind of get it. I kind of don't care for it. We're gonna put him in bad, whatever. Next we got Wildvine. Wildvine for me, honestly, is a great alien that I love on the level of goop. I think Wildvine's design is amazing. I think his powers are great. I love the bombs on his back. He's basically Swamp Fire, but with no fire and more bombs, and it's great. And I love the way they would animate him stretching and the way he would like do stuff. I really like that episode where in Omniverse he was Wildvine for most of it, because it was just an excuse for me to look at Wildvine, and it was fun. And I really liked his transformation sequence where like the thing would like rip apart. It kind of reminded me of like Ripjaws, where like his jaw would rip like that, and that was like the two best transformation sequences in the original series. Alien X, we're gonna save till last. Vampire. He was very much, the last major gimmick. You had mummies, you had werewolves, you had, Frankenstein's like monster. You needed to have a vampire, so they added in Vampire, and I kind of get it. So I'm just gonna put him beside Snero, but I'm gonna put him slightly above because I'm gonna put him actually at the end of average, because I don't like how Deus Ex Machina, like the say of Vampire kind of is. You know, it's like he's weak to sun. That's fun, but it's like whatever. Slapback, I think, is a really fun gimmick. He can clone himself after like taking hits and stuff, and like getting hit in the back is like the trigger for it, and he doubles in density, and I think that's fun. I am going to put him right somewhere in average. I'm gonna say I like Stinkfly better, so I'm gonna put him right there. That's about right. Let's look. Are there any other reboot aliens? No? Grant. Let's look at Artiguana. Artiguana, I think, is, in terms of ice, is like the coolest in the entire series, because like he's clearly got the most powerful ice beam. I love the moment where he stops the lava flow in Omniverse. I love when he debuted in Ben 10K. I think it was a really great moment that like a lot of people who remember that episode just literally remember it for the moment of like Artiguana showing up, and Ben naming it as like the first alien he names in a long time. And overall, yeah, I really like Artiguana, and I think he's got a great design. I feel kind of like it's like Ultimate Spider Monkey, where it's like personality-wise there's not a lot going there, but design-wise and visual-wise, I'm a big fan, so I put him up in great. Honestly, I love Artiguana. I think he's great. Terra Spin. I think Terra Spin is really cool. I love that one scene where he uses it to like clear out the alien gas like atmosphere in a bar and like torches a guy, which sounds fucked, but it's cool. And I just overall love the design of him, and I love that string of Ultimate Alien episodes where he's introduced, and I really like Terra Spin, so I'm going to put him beside Armadillo. Actually, I'm going to put him I'm going to put him beside Armadillo, but I think I like Chroma Stone a bit more. And now that I think of Brainstorm, am I going to lower him? I don't know, probably not. Do I want to lower Forearms now? I think now is actually a good point to ask myself if I want to. I am going to... We're going to readdress that actually later. Right, let's readdress that later. Atomics. Atomics was the last alien introduced, and honestly, I think he's okay. Like, not terrible. I'm going to put him in kind of bad, though. He's just basically a powerful guy that can punch people into the atmosphere, and that's like his whole thing. And he's very, like, one note, and there's a fusion of him that combines with Alien X, which makes you wonder why, because isn't any combination of Alien X technically weaker than Alien X, because you're diluting the Alien X? And just, yeah, I was never really a fan of his voice, and the more I talk, the more I want to put him in terrible. But I'm going to put him at the top of terrible, I guess. No, I'm going to put him at the bottom, because I like Bush Shock and like Fast Track more. But I'll put Mustache down, I guess? No, I'll put mustache up. Oh, whatever. This doesn't really matter. Upchuck. I could put him beside Edel just for the sake of they're the two eating guys. But Upchuck has really good moments. Like, he is the one that stopped the Forever King. He is his species. Ben has two versions of him. That's a really fun episode. Their species keeps moving on from planet to planet to planet to planet to planet, going around the whole thing. So I'm actually going to put Upchuck, strangely enough, maybe in grey. Maybe. No. Yeah, I really like Upchuck, now that, like, I really think on it. So, next we got Lord Star. Lord Star is very cool. I do like his, the episodes he's in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien. He's the first alien we see in Omniverse, which means nothing, because nostalgia is dead when you're looking at a tier list. But basically, I think Lord Star is a cool design. I like the floating head element. I think his voice is kind of average. But overall, it's just, you know, I think he's good. You know, I like some of the show of power he has a lot. But overall, once again, you know, it's just, he doesn't have that X element to bring him to great, like, in terms of design or power stuff that he's done, and he doesn't have that, like, best element to bring him, like, at all, really. So he's the bottom of a good alien, you know? It's good, but there's a lot missing, actually. And you know what? The more I think about it, I'm going to put Blitzwolfer up to good, and I'm going to make Edel and Lord Star and Cannonbolt the definition of, like, average aliens, and that feels about right to do. So next we got Amphibian. Oh, that's my camera. We got No! We got... Oh, God. Right. We got Amphibian. I was obsessed with the way Amphibian would say his name growing up, and I'm gonna say that I really like Amphibian's design. I think he's really good, and I said earlier that Shock Squash was probably the most fun out of the electricity ones, but Amphibian, though, was probably really cool. I really loved his design. His design is really, really good, people, and I really do like his like multi-limbness and stuff. But ultimately, I do like Shock Squatch better. So I will put Amphibian beside Water Hazard, which feels accurate. I just realised that I put none of the Ultimate Alien 5, like the first main 5, into grey. That doesn't feel right. Let me have a look here. Yeah, I didn't, which is actually really shocking. Maybe I should bump up Armadillo? No, but I don't want to bump up someone just because I think a group of people have deserved someone. So here we go, people. Where am I putting Alien X? I'm saying this now. It's not in the best. But it might be. I don't know. See, first it's either going to be the great, best, or good. And I'm tell you what I'm thinking right now, people. It's honestly because Alien X I get as like a Deus Ex Machina guy, right? But we see the internal struggle. We see a lot of the development, and we see Ben's trip to fully gaining control of him. And, you know, like with feedback, we've seen him catch a big bang, and that's clearly why, like, you know, it's amazing. But with Alien X, he kind of just does stuff, so visually he's not too impressive. But you see that journey, and that's a really good journey to see. And that makes me think of putting him in grey. So I'm going to put him in grey, but it's maybe the top of grey, but maybe the best, just for the sake of, I don't know. You know what, we're going to put him in grey, and you know what, this is going to be controversial, we're going to put both the Echo Echoes above him. That's what I'm going to do. Hopefully people don't get upset with that, like the 5 people that will see this. And then here we got Unsuited Energy, which I don't consider different enough to grade, and then we got these two, which are, you know, none in the series. So this is basically my tier list, and now looking at it, let me review it, I guess. I'm really considering dropping Forearms, honestly. I am going to drop Forearms to grey. Yeah, I will. And I'm going to move Heat Blast up, because the more I think about him, the more I think of the amount of things he actually did in the original series. In terms of visuals, like he would do fire tornado things all the time, he would like move really fast, the asteroid thing, teaching Alan, the more I think about it, the more I like it. And Forearms has been there since like episode 2 or 3, I want to say, maybe 3. But overall, it's like, while it's always cool when he shows up, I never really go in my mind, yeah, Forearms, but with Heat Blast, that reaction is there. I really like it. So do I want to sort any of these guys? I like a lot of these guys equally. I want to put way big, maybe more towards above the swamp fires, maybe. Yeah, above the swamp fires, and then I'll put Ripjaws around there. There. This seems about right. Right. So this is my tier list, everyone. And honestly, I'm gonna put a link for the same tier list down below. If you agree with me, you know, great. But if you don't, do give me your opinion down below. This is the first tier list video I'll be doing. I'll be doing a few because I just feel like getting my opinions out there and making my channel more personable and kind of consistently uploading. So I figured I would do that by kind of doing stuff where it would kind of suit more towards, you know, saying my opinions on stuff. And I really feel like this is a video where I can do that. Let's hope it didn't go too long. Reviewing my choices, by the way, it's like I really hope a lot of you understand why I put Ultimate Way Big, Ultimate Cannon Bolt, Fast Track, people so low. But at the same time, I don't hate Fast Track and like Buzz Shock and things like that. It's just in the retrospective of like what the series is, it's like I feel like design wise and whatnot, it's like they are kind of terrible. So yeah, and it's like I don't think Atomics is terrible. Like if this were a power scaling thing, he'd be near great to best. But it's like, no, that's not what it is though. And you know what? Is this definitive? Yes, because it's my opinion, and my opinion is factually correct. I've been Reverse Nova. Peace out.